Mr. B, why are you so hostile towards insurance? Why do you speak so negative about insurance? Listen, I'm going to tell you why. This is a true thing that happened. Again, I'm not here to bullshit you. No fake stories here. We had, and I'm trying to see how I could word this because these people are still around. They still look at my stuff. They're still trying to get their money. Good luck. We had insurance. We had workers' compensation insurance where we signed for a certain amount. And again, even workers' comp does payroll audits. So with this company, whatever, we were there for an extended amount of time with them. Everything was fine until they start hitting us with audits. And in their audits, it included, okay, we want to know how much you made. You're going to have to show us all of the pay stubs that you have, all of the tax filings that you have, sales tax filings. We want to see, excuse me, bank statements. We want to see the accounts receivable statements with the bank. We want to see expenditures. We want to see line by line what you're spending your money on. Additionally, as the owner, who's whatever the guarantee or whatever it is on the policy, we want to see your personal statements. We want to see what you're spending your money on, how much you're paying yourself at the company, not just the business records, personal records we want from you, Mr. Smith. And if you don't get it to us, we're going to drop you. What else do they want? Just stuff like that. And I'm like, really? Personal records? This sounds a little invasion of privacy going on there. You ain't getting shit from me. And that's what I told them directly in the email. I'm not even bullshitting you. I said, you guys aren't getting shit from me. You're not getting shit from me because it's too intrusive. Outside of the business records, right? I sent them everything that they needed because we can't get canceled, and they know that. They'll use it to their leverage. But what I did is I said, look, our expenditures are none of your damn business, lady. Our expenditures are not your damn business. All your ass should be caring about is payroll and payroll only. That's what I told them. Got in a big fight, huge fight. Back and forth, cursing, yelling, doing this and that, right? Then they go, hey, look, we're going to start showing up at your office. So they start showing up at the office. At the time, there was no office worker, so nobody's answering the door. And then they kept showing up, kept calling, kept doing this, kept doing that. And I said, guys, look, I'm not giving you my personal bank statements. Are you fucking crazy? Are you crazy? They didn't like that. So what they did is they said, hey, look, Mr. Smith, since you don't want to participate in our payroll audit, we're going to hit you with an estimated payroll, what we think that you're making. And I said, okay, fine. You're not getting my personal records. It's invasion of privacy. And they wanted, not just that, they wanted everything on every employer. They wanted employee. They wanted everyone's social security number. They wanted all the pay stubs, W-2 for people. They want to know who's male and female because in terms of workers' comp, females are billed higher than men. Why is that? I don't know, other than maternity leave, right? But I turn around and say, hey, look, apparently male and female doesn't exist. Right? That's the only time I'll use it to my benefit. No, there's no such thing as a male anymore or a female. It's X because a man can have a baby. So they didn't like that. I flipped the script right on. I don't give a damn. So anyway, it's just all this intrusive stuff. Then we're fighting. Then I said, look, I'm going to send you the the full report, but I'm crossing out my name because as the owner, I'm excluded from workers' comp. They didn't like that. No, you have to include yourself. You have to include yourself. If it's an owner-excluded policy, why the hell am I including myself in your stupid little audit? Because they want their money. They want those numbers inflated is what they want. So at any rate, I redacted stuff. No, we can't have no documents with no redactions on it. We need to see everything. Right? I didn't send out my personals. If they're not getting it, they can kiss my ass. Right? So anyway, they finally hit me with an estimated audit. Guess how much it was? $5 million. They try to say that I paid my employees $5 million in whatever it was, 9 months, I think it was, 6 months, whatever, however their stupid audit was. I said, are you guys flipping crazy? We're still, okay, a small, local, growing company. There's absolutely no way we paid $5 million in 6 months to our employees. You're freaking nuts. So they hit me with the bill and was like, no, this is our estimated bill. Because you didn't want to give us what we demanded, this is what you're going to pay us. Now you have to give us 10 grand or something like that, or 15 grand a month in premium. I said, no, you can kiss my ass. Take me to court, lady. That's what I said. Kiss my ass right on the email. Let me tell you something. I don't care. Right? When you try to do that shady stuff to me, shady business, I'm not going to be a professional to you. So anyway, I'm like, look, lady, you're not getting that. I'm not paying that. What did they start doing? What did they start doing? They automatically started debiting our account, taking money beyond the original agreed upon terms to suit their payroll audit. We're not talking about $1,000. We're talking thousands of dollars they started taking out. So I go, hey, look, guys, you need to stop. Stop right now. They didn't care. Deducting. So I go to the supervisor of the person who did the audit. I said, look, this is clearly wrong. This person estimated that I paid $5 million to employees in this amount of time. I said, you guys nuts? I said, you need to fix this or we're going to find our ass in court. So supervisor goes, oh, I looked it over. Yeah, everything's wrong. But, based on that person's, the way the case or auditor, whoever it was, did it, they did it incorrectly. I think they did it on purpose to try to set a fire under my ass because they know I would just go crazy on them in the email like I did, which I did. But they got what they were looking for, a response. So they fixed it. And what else pissed me off? At the time that all this was going on, I had an employee who almost lost her life. And I'll tell you that. I'm going to ask her, can I have permission to tell the story? And I know she's on our page. You don't have to out yourself like that or anything like that or feel impressed or pressed upon, I should say. But I had an employee almost lose her life. Conditions of which, whatever, the person got hurt at work as well. And that was our first ever workers' comp claim. I went to bat for this employee because, look, insurance, workers' comp insurance is not your friend. Their job is to say, we're not responsible or we're not paying that much. That's their job. I've been through it before with other outfits. I've seen it all. They're also vampires and sharks. So anyway, I filed a claim. Immediately, the guy calls me, hey, I want to know what happened. You filled out the C3, you did this, you did that. I need this. I need to know if you know she has any injuries. I need to know if she has any disabilities that we can use to our benefit. I need to know this. I need to know that because we're not going to be taking responsibility for this. And I said, guys, you can't treat her like this. I got it all on recording and email. And I even let the worker know. I said, look, they're looking to railroad you. I'm not that type of person, right? The way workers' comp works in New York State, we pay a premium for workers' comp. We don't pay the whole case. That's the insurance company. So anyway, I said, look, to the worker, I said, look, I'm on your side. We believe you got hurt. We saw you got hurt on camera. You are entitled to workers' compensation. They're going to fight you. What happened? They contacted her, being accusatory, yelling at her, calling her a liar, stuff like that. What else did they do? Call me back saying, hey, look, can you discourage person? Can you discourage her from proceeding? I said, no, I'm not discouraging. And I said, because you guys try to F me over with the premium, I said, nah, we got your ass. She's got your ass. I said, I'm the type of person, I'm gonna defend her. I said, I'm not on your guy's side, the way of which you've been acting, and then asking me to try to prove that she's a liar. No, I'm not that type of person. Right? They went off. Right? It went to the Workers' Compensation Board. I said right to the Workers' Compensation Board and to these people, I said, I'm not on their side. I'm on the side of righteousness, what's right, treating people fairly. I got in writing them telling me, let's railroad her, right? This person doesn't have a lot of money. This person is an older person. Why are you treating her like that? What the fuck is wrong with you? So anyway, I had to stop the video a second ago because as I'm talking about this insurance video, I forgot on the last video I didn't censor out the F word. I am sorry. Mr. B is sorry for using the F word in front of the audience. I tend to bleep those words out. But it's unfortunate, but we're all adults. Freedom of speech, right? So fuck it. At any rate, back to this story I was telling you about. So anyway, I told them right on, I said, I'm not on their side at all. I said, this is an older lady, disabled. She's not rich. What you guys trying to do is not right. So in the meantime, what did I do? Being the type of boss I am, and she'll tell you. I offered her, I don't want to say it directly, but it's people's business. I offered things to make that person more comfortable. Insurance company didn't like that because I requested the money back because they should have been taking care of it. But I say, you know what? At the end of the day, I can feel better about myself that this person's getting railroaded, but I've done some to help make them comfortable in the meantime. So, anyway, what really pissed me off, the investigator for the insurance company calls me directly again. And he's laughing when I'm telling him the story of the way of which she got hurt, which was on camera. And I told her they laughed at her. I went off on the guy on the phone. I said, dude, look, this is not funny. And if this is the way you're going to laugh, I don't want to have any relationship with you guys anymore. Well, you owe us da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I said, you are the claims investigator for the claim. I said, you don't give a damn. You shouldn't give a damn about what we owe you guys, which is currently in dispute. That was the extent of the conversation with him. So what did I do? After them laughing at her and her complaint, them telling me to railroad her or try to get her to say something that could be used against her, them shutting her down on the phone, them overcharging us on an incorrect payroll audit, debiting our account when they were told not to because it's incorrect, and then when I want the money back, they refused to give the money. Until this day, they refuse to give the money back. Till this day, there's an outstanding balance with them. All in dispute. So I said, look, take me to court. Take me to court. I'll lay all this out in front of the court. I'm not playing with your ass. Right? You stole my money. Right? You bullied us into to try to give into your payroll audit with requesting my bank account, my personal stuff. I'm waiting for the day that we go to court. I am waiting because I'm going to let it all out. Right? I even went and complained to the Department of Financial Services. I complained to the Attorney General's office. Nothing happened to them. As of yet, I understand it takes time. One last thing that I have to edit in regards to this ridiculous saga, right? So, after we had left them, or when they found out that we were trying to leave them, they completely discouraged this employee from proceeding, made it seem like she was a criminal, this, that, and every other thing, even though the incident of her getting hurt was recorded on video and I showed them the video. They still didn't care. They discouraged her. I said, hey, look, here's a number to a lawyer that I know very well, a workers' comp. Call them back. Call the lawyer. Go meet with him. He'll set it straight, right? That's the way I left it like that. But they still shut the thing completely down. But my hands were tied. I couldn't do anything else because the insurance holds the power, right? The Workers' Compensation Board holds the power. So they completely discouraged her from proceeding. Completely, which was ridiculous. But this is what happens. This is why I tell current employees, I let them know right off the bat, full disclosure. Once the report's filed, I have nothing to do with it other than stating facts, showing up, testifying to facts. I'm not on the side of the insurance companies. I'm just not, because I know how they operate. Now, once we left that workers' comp carrier, what did they do? They informed. Wait, first of all, they didn't cancel the policy as it was in writing. They claim that our insurance handlers never submitted the paperwork. I said, okay, fine. I'm submitting the cancellation paperwork. I submit the cancellation paperwork. Months go by. Oh, we never got the cancellation paperwork. You owe us for 6 months. I said, bullshit. Look at this. Oh, no, it should have been sent in writing. We don't know if the email's legit. Playing games with me, playing games with Mr. B. Again, I cursed him the hell out. I don't give a damn. So, anyway, what they notified the Workers' Compensation Board of, because they knew that it was going to jam me up as a nice FU, they told the board that I canceled my insurance and didn't provide any evidence of new insurance. Apparently, this is what I learned. When you cancel workers' comp, you have to provide the new information to the old company to show that you now have coverage, because as a business, as a security business, there can be no lapse. What they did, though, is they still told the board that I lapsed and I did not have workers' compensation insurance. What happens there after that notification is made? The Workers' Compensation Board fines businesses for every day, is my understanding, that it is alleged that you do not have workers' compensation coverage. I went off on that old company. I said, this is bullshit. We had another, which apparently you weren't supposed to do in New York State, but somehow it went through. While we had workers' compensation insurance with that one company, we had insurance in place already because we were canceled, right? Like I said, it can't be any lapse. So at the same time, we had two different insurance companies reporting to the Workers' Compensation Board. But here's the thing, because that original the original Workers' Compensation company did not report it to the Workers' Compensation Board, they did not recognize the carrier we put in place before we canceled. To them, it looked like we canceled with nobody, so they hit us with a fine, which was like, I can't remember. It might have been like $5,000 or something like that, or less, let's just say. And I go, hey, I said, what the hell are you talking about? I said, here is a copy of the cancellation. Here is a copy of the email that shows the attachment with the original document. Here is the audit trail for that document. Here is the binder for the new company with the effective cancellation date that I told the old company. I said, I'm not paying you guys. I said, you crazy? I had enough already with this other insurance company. And thankfully, New York State Workers' Compensation Board said, hey, look, we see that now. We are rescinding or pulling back the fine. You definitely had coverage. And I was like, yes, I know. What that old company did was a nice FU to me. This is why I can't stand insurance. Now, I will say recently, if you follow our page or anything, I did get in a very bad accident, which took me out of work for maybe 2 weeks. The whole front of my car was destroyed, right? I hit a deer, unfortunately. But here's the thing. I was only going like 30 miles an hour, and I hit the deer, completely destroyed the front of the car. And I'm the type of cautious person driving emergency vehicles for a very long time that I can threshold brake, turn on a dime, all this all this stuff. But it was at night, and literally, I look up the street. I saw deers run across, maybe 50 yards up the road. So I come to a complete stop. I keep going. Next thing you know, the last deer out of nowhere came darting across. Boom, hit the deer. Deer went flying, teeth and hair everywhere. I don't want to get graphic. And I don't want to go off on a story about a deer. But anyway, the deer was still alive. Well, it was knocked out, but then it was come back to consciousness, and it tried getting up, run across the street. It couldn't run. All four of its legs were broken. So I called the cops. Say, look, got a deer here. Hit the deer. Come out for an accident report, please. And the deer is still alive. He's in the middle of the road now. He's trying to get up. He's causing a traffic situation. Do you want me to dispatch it? No, I didn't say that. Can't do that. I'll be in jail. They came out, just to tell you briefly, they came out. They shot the deer 3 or 4 times. The damn thing was still alive. We're talking headshots. It was still alive. It didn't go down without a fight. So anyway, I filed the insurance claim. This is the only good thing I'm going to say about insurance. It was so easy to file the claim for the car, get it inspected, get it towed, get it repaired. I mean, it took a long time to fix. Over a month, right? Rental, everything is included. Even though I got other cars, I said, screw it. If I got insurance, I'm getting this rental, even though they put me in a little rinky-dink thing. So anyway, at the end of it, the entire claim was $15,000, not $1,500. $15,000 claim was my first ever insurance claim. Personal, not the company. So I'm telling you a personal story. The insurance company paid it without even challenging it. So I was really surprised. So I'm happy with that insurance company. You did a very good job. You took care of it. I like you. The other people, I don't give a damn about you. So that's just my story about the insurance. But let's proceed to the end of the clip, since this is an excuse me, I'm dehydrated. Since this is an add-in clip. I understand. But this just shows you my background as to why I feel the way of which I do with insurance. I'm not going to say them by name, but I would not recommend doing business with that. If you need workers' comp, family disability, contact me directly, and I'll recommend some stuff, but definitely not this place at all. Now, there's a way of which you can find out who it might be. That's on your own to figure out, right? You look at that company, insurance company on Google, nothing but negative reviews. Same stuff. Incorrect billing. Debiting incorrect amounts. Debiting, giving incorrect payroll figures to pad their pockets. I mean, if I would have known this, I would have never dealt with them before I got, signed that paperwork. So just be careful. Be careful with insurance. Not all of them are the same, but at the end of the day, they make their money off of you.